What are you talking about?
Alright, and we're live. Hello, everybody. Today I'm joined by my very lovely and beautiful wife, Brandy. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
And yeah, we'll just jump right into it, I guess. And we're also joined by
I'm getting attacked by dogs.
our dogs as well. So, the reason why I want to bring you on here is one is to say happy anniversary and I love you.
Thank you.
Do
Happy
that
anniversary.
public display of affection.
Oh, I love you too.
Yeah.
How many years has it been?
What, that we've been married?
Yeah.
12.
Okay. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. So, God, hopefully I won't forget that.
I had to start counting a couple of years ago. I was like,
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah. Yeah. Next year is going to be even more epic.
Your favorite number?
It's 13, my favorite number.
13.
So, let's get serious. Let us know how the sound is too, by the way. Taking a look here and make sure everything is good. I'm getting attacked by a fly. Oh my god.
That's good luck.
Is it? I hope so. Maybe the dog will snag it. The main reason that, well, besides telling you that I love you in front of everybody, the main reason that I brought you on here is to talk about your experience. Like, that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah.
tell your story. And the camera's right there too, if you want to look at people. This is the first time. This is the first time I've had someone sitting next to me.
I'm looking at the screen.
Yeah.
Shows, and I need to go. What? I'm a teacher, and I teach Zoom classes all day. I should probably learn to look at the camera.
Yeah, but that was a good segue. I mean, yeah, you're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
What type of teacher? Tell the people.
So there's all sorts of fancy titles. One of them is a child development specialist. Right now at the job I'm at is just simply teacher.
What age range? For those who don't know.
Well, I specialize in birth age to 0 to 8, but the age range that I'm with right now is 3, 4, and 5. Yeah.
That's probably kind of hard with teaching at a distance, right? A virtual classroom. Like, how do you do that?
Right. It's actually very interesting because we, as educators, we like to say limit screen time, no more than 2 hours a day, which is very fascinating because in all reality that doesn't really happen, even with our own kids. I've tried for years to implement that, but it's failed massively.
Yeah.
There's technology everywhere, and we don't want them not having technology, but it's just their brain's developing. We want them to get out and play and move and be one with their environment.
Right.
So it's really interesting, but the last 2 weeks I've been teaching online. It's been really good. The kids are excited. It's a lot of hellos and games and learning through play.
Have you noticed any difference, like, with the kids, like how they respond, with what's going on, like all the crazy coronavirus stuff, or?
Not really. They're really confused why they can't get to me. Like, why do I want to be on a screen? Why can't they come see Teacher Brandy? And I really don't think anyone has a good explanation for them because they're just not at a level that they can quite understand.
Comprehend, like, germs and bugs and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, because even in school we have a whole unit, pretty much the whole year. Kids get sick all the time, especially when they first start school. We're always teaching them, cover your mouth, if, like this, don't sneeze into your hand. So they're like, I even had a few like, well, if you teach us that, why can't we come? Like,
right.
Why can't you teach us to be safe? So it's very confusing. We're gonna have to figure out how to explain that. So we have something called social stories.
What's that?
A social story?
Yeah, what's a social story?
You can make a social story for anything. So I'm not done writing it, but basically, let's say a kid can't keep his hands to himself, right? He's just always wanting to hit, I see that as communication. You know, behavior's communication.
And they're so young, it's hard for them to express, right?
Some of them, yeah. But
words.
a social story might be like, my name is Johnny. Johnny likes to go to school. Johnny likes to hit his friends. It literally explains the actions and behaviors of what the kid is doing, but then the social story twists into a more desirable behavior. And it's good for the whole, not just for him.
It's like modeling with the story.
It's
basically.
Modeling, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And because I know you so well.
Yeah.
Like I know that you're really into teaching with play. Is there other strategies that you use, like to educate kids, or what's?
Yeah. So my favorite thing to do is called second step. Any guesses on what that could be?
I mean, the step after your first. I don't know. I don't know what that would be.
Okay, so here's a really funny story. It's really short, probably the shortest story you've heard all day. I don't know why it's called that.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
All right.
So it's called second step, and I always tease, why is it not called first step?
Right.
Because it should be, because what we're doing through that curriculum, you can kind of take it and twist it and make it your own, but we are learning through role playing. During second step, we're teaching feelings, we're teaching empathy, we're teaching perspective. So I have two puppets named Susan and Jose, and they like to come visit a lot. They're my persona puppets. So Susan, you know what like a persona doll is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Susan's persona is she's a little feisty. She doesn't like to follow the rules. She goes with the beat of her own drum.
She's a rebel.
I can relate to that.
Yeah,
she likes to come in during circle time and she starts yelling, and sometimes she hits me. It hurts. Yeah. I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but a lot of early childhood teachers are. So.
Yeah. A little crazy.
Anyway,
you gotta be a little crazy to surround yourself by a bunch of young, rambunctious kids. And,
yeah. So Jose comes in, and he's the rule follower, and he teaches all about second step. So that's just what it's called. The kids have no idea it's called second step, but he comes in and he's, Susan, you know, why are you doing that? And then we just go into role playing. Well, because I wanted to. That's what kids say a lot of the time. Right. I wanted to. But then we really dig around and, you know, well, how did that make you feel, and how do you think that made others feel? So that's really cool. That's my favorite because it puts it into real life applications. And my assistant and I, well, she doesn't know this yet. She's new. So if she sees this,
then she's gonna know.
My old assistant did it with me all the time. We would role play a lot on scenarios. I'd kick over someone's block tower, and she'd come over and we'd role play on how to fix it.
Okay.
Things like that. But that's my favorite, called second step, and it's learning through doing. Sometimes we're playing and we're just modeling developmentally appropriate behavior, but that word, sometimes it kind of hurts me.
What?
I kind of hope none of my teacher friends see this, developmentally appropriate behavior, because if you have a special need, what is that? It's
like perspective, right?
Yeah, like what's developmentally appropriate if, you know, you have a special need.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's interesting. You know me well enough that you know I'll probably go a little deep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go a little deep. So let's go a little deep now, shall we? Are you excited?
Right.
She's nervous about this because she's trying to. So
This is not alcohol. This is green juice.
That comes later. That'll come later. No. So with what do you think, educational wise? Like what are? Do you think that it's a very healthy setup we have in the States? Because that's really our perspective, right? As the United States. What do you think that we have a decent setup? I mean, like your perspective, early childhood education and just education in general. How do you think that it could be improved upon? I mean, most people probably agree on that, but do you have any ideas of like how we could improve education and how it even transfers over to beyond just kids? I would think. I mean, I like to learn from play myself, so I can relate to that. But
well, a little side note: it's interesting how I teach kids to learn through play and be vulnerable. But as they get older, it's almost shut down. Like, quit playing. Quit playing around. But that's how kids really learn. So if we're talking Early childhood, birth to age 8, that's about to 3rd, 4th grade even. It's lost.
Scott.
It's lost. Who's Scott?
It's so weird me being bald. I know, because I used to have long
that was
hair,
a part of him losing his childhood. You know, he didn't get enough
Right.
play. Didn't get
Not
enough
enough play. It made me bald. Either that or the kids, one of the two.
I think it was Orion.
Yeah.
It was our second.
You're right. So sorry, go on. So yeah, it seems like it's bred out like after.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of pressure on teachers to conform to a curriculum that they're given, and it seems like it changes a lot. One year it's this curriculum, the next it's that, and you can't really put a lot of your spin on it because there's like statewide testings and certain things kids have to meet. And
Right.
that's one of the reasons why I don't teach kindergarten. I love kindergartners. I love 3rd graders.
Just because it's more.
Those are my 2 favorite.
Like, you're qualified to teach all the way up to what? Like, basically middle school, right?
Well, I almost have my master's in education, so once I get that, I can teach further.
All the way up into high school, even.
Mhm.
Yeah. Would you ever?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you think's more? What do you think's more challenging? Is
the
like
hormones or
high school or the little children, little people?
I think it's challenging in different ways. I see more of myself like in my specific job going into sometimes a war zone. There's a lot of kids at my job that need a lot of help.
Because you work with a lot of special needs kids, right?
Yeah, and I feel like if I worked in high school, maybe I wouldn't get beat up so much, but so it's like physically and mentally, we could talk both aspects.
Right.
Mentally, I think I'm prepared for all of the, well, I don't cares and the, like, we have
You
a
better be,
14-year-old,
yeah,
okay?
you better be.
We have.
So it's already happening.
I think I really enjoy teaching 12th graders. Just letting them know this is going to be very controversial. Sorry to all y'all there, but you don't have to go to college right away if you don't want to, especially if you are not financially equipped to do so. Go ahead and don't do it. Take it from me, I learned the hard way. Get scholarships, work, and pay for each semester. Don't go to college and get in debt. Unless you plan on paying it back and you got a solid plan.
Or like if you get really good grades
thoughts.
and you get a scholarship, right? That's another excellent option.
Right, and if you work really hard and if you know resources, like I didn't really know anything. I went in and I was like, oh, student loans, okay,
Right.
like I need this to get to my next semester. There wasn't a lot of scholarships for me.
Yeah.
Being a woman and other things, but
Well, and also you didn't jump straight from high school into college, and
right,
you weren't-
I was.
How were you
let's
in
see.
high school, Brandy?
What? What do you mean?
I mean,
I'll
were
tell
you,
you my
were
story.
you a straight A 4.0 student?
Absolutely not. I was a straight A student into middle school, and then I don't want to blame it on this teacher, but
Shaped
this
your life.
is important. Like this actually goes into my teaching and how
Why you became a teacher?
why I became a teacher and why how do I say it? What I didn't want to be as a teacher. Because in 6th grade, I had, to me, I was really confident. There were 2 teachers that really just shot me down and gave me bad grades for no reason. My mom fixed all that, though. Like, I had proof that I was a good student, like I could pass the test, but I was doing this presentation one day on a daffodil, and I put the daffodil, I'm sure you've done this, in some paint, or some dye.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it sucks up all the dye and it turns the daffodil the color of the dye.
Right.
You heard of that?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, well anyway, I was super, super proud of it. I made the standard trifold presentation, and all the teacher could say was terrible things about my presentation while I was presenting. I was horrified.
And you were standing in front of the
I
class.
was standing in front of the
and
whole class. I lost all my confidence. Now looking back, like I can give this advice to my own kids. Like, who cares what that person was saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, that shaped who I am as a teacher. And I really think if you're going to become a teacher, solve all your unresolved childhood issues before you go ahead and go down that road.
Yeah. I mean, just being a human should always be working on improving yourself, right?
Yeah. You're
so-
never going to resolve everything.
Right.
I
So
am
going
not
back to the college thing.
Oh.
What's your take on our collegiate system, like the way that we have.
Wait, let me get out my thesaurus for collegiate.
Well, I think that's what you'd say. You could say what, NCAA, or is that only for National Collegiate Association?
Not associated.
Academic Association.
Accredited. I'm
that's
sure
my
there's
guess.
an accredited.
That's my guess. What it is accredited? I don't know. Anyways, what's your take on that? Like, do you think that the way it's set up right now is a good way for education? Because there's a lot of like people from around the world that come to the U.S. for our educational system, but I do know that they get a lot of grants and scholarships if they're really good. You know,
yeah, and there's a lot of scholarships, like if you're Native American or if you're of a culture in general that is not American.
Yeah. To help encourage more.
Like I said, I don't know everything. There could be things out there that I just missed, but I couldn't find any being a white female and a woman. I'm privileged just saying that, just being that. So I feel like that's why there are scholarships for other people out there. But no, I don't like how it's set up at all. The fact that it's a grading system in itself is hurtful because...
How else would they...
I don't know.
Right?
It's all money-based, really. So teachers have to get paid, right? There has to be some sort of system and rules in place for students.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean...
There definitely has to be a system in place for us to educate people, like to have them go through a process. But I mean, is it healthy is it a good idea? I don't know. Is it a good idea to base it solely on? Here's the weird thing: is like some schools, they're super focused on like just sports and athletics, and they get a crap ton of money for it. And then other schools are super focused on, you know, like law or business, you know, whatever it may be. You know, it's like the difference between Princeton and MIT and, you know, Alabama State type of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know how you would fix that, if that is even a problem. Like that, there's just that, you know, it makes it so there's different options and different choices. But as far as so much debt, I think that's for the average person. If you don't do really well, I mean, I guess that's the key thing to take away, is like you should try to just do really well in high school. But like how many?
Let me talk about that.
It's like the whole social experience. Like it's hard, right? Isn't that hard?
I can talk about that. I didn't do too well in high school due to the fact that I was going through a lot, pretty much sophomore year and up. A really hard home life going on there for a while. I barely went to school. When I did enough, but I would go in, if I even made it, in one door and literally out the next. And I would just go do whatever. But I didn't get good grades, but when I took a test, I was okay. So I know that I was smart. I really wish that time in my life would have been a little better. But here's my whole point. I went to college, I took the placement test, and I placed just fine. So I really feel like if you're struggling in general in your studies or whatever, then go ahead and do really good in high school. But if you feel like you're going to be okay, just brush up a little and you'll get right into college. I mean...
but then there's then you become in debt a lot of times, right? Coming straight out of college.
100% of the time. Unless your mom or your dad or some great relative pays for it, or unless you're really smart. I had a lot of friends work and pay the semester. They went, literally, that's what they were there for. They got college housing. They went and got a part-time job. They went to school. It was a lot of dedication. I was offered that, but I had a kid and a half almost at the time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just go live on a dorm.
I was the half. Actually, I was the half kid, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're up there.
I was the half.
You're up there.
Yeah, it was hard, but that was your dream, so like I understand why you had to do it.
I was really discouraged a lot of the time, like, whoa, like I'm putting my family in debt. Is it worth it? But deep down I knew, like, yes, it's going to be worth it. Like I have this positive outlook. It's going to be worth it. My degree, and it did. It has paid off.
Yeah, definitely, especially recently. I mean, they're starting to pay teachers better.
It's paid off. Yeah.
In Oregon, at least.
Yeah, we had
you know what it's like across the nation? Is it, you think that
Oh,
more...
there's people in my same job that make a fraction of what I make, but that
So
all
it's
has to
just
do with
Oregon.
minimum wage, and it has to do with cost of living, and
This is more of an Oregon thing. 'Cause, like,
yeah.
can you elaborate on that? Is that something you can talk about?
I don't really know.
Okay.
All I know is that there was a grant specifically for teachers, early childhood educators, that went through, and I was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I don't want to say lucky because I worked dang hard to get where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's I think your job's pretty important. It's right up there with pretty much all social worker jobs. Or, police, firefighters.
Yeah.
Anybody who works in the medical field. Those are super important jobs. So
Yeah. What's
anybody
so
who protects.
What's so
serves and
beautiful about my job, I think, compared to kindergarten and up, and there's amazing teachers out there, and I know that they have their own twist on things, but I have the opportunity to work with families and really individualize what families want to work on and what their kids are interested in. That's so important. Kids learn so much better when there's an interest involved,
Right.
and hands-on play. Why do we take that away in the college setting? Why do we take that away? We have a 4th grader and a 9th grader.
Probably depends on the teacher. Like in the college setting, that's what's so beautiful about the college setting, right? Is like it's way more open. It's not as
well,
it's
depending
not
on
as
the
boxed
teacher,
in.
but
Right.
there's a lot of really great college teachers. If you look for it, you have to have a positive attitude too.
Yeah.
But I heard our daughter's teacher.
A willingness to learn, maybe.
Yeah, and the nicer you are to people, I find it's hard for them not to be nice back to you.
And that's a really good point. So, like, what do you think about bringing, like, spiritualism more into schools? Or you could say it's religion. I'm not saying religion. If you bring one religion in, like if it's Christianity, you got to bring them all in. That's how I feel. But, like, spiritualism in general, just the big questions of who am I, why am I here? What's this life for? What's my purpose?
We bring
what do you think about that?
in. I think it's great. I almost said lovely. I went to finishing school. It's lovely.
There's a certain age group though where it's really important, right? According to cognizant, like according to what a child's development is, like there's certain developmental stage where children start to really, that becomes really important.
Around age 8 is when synapses in the brain start closing. It's harder for them to learn a second language. It's harder for them to learn social skills. I'm not saying it's impossible. Come on, adults need to learn social skills still. But it's a lot easier for age 8 and down.
Just to pick up
science-wise.
To pick up on those questions and to think about them.
Yeah. That's why there's such a huge push for early childhood and getting your kiddos into Head Start. And I mean, or just preschool in general. It doesn't have to be Head Start.
It's early childhood education.
Back to spiritualism. For example, in my class, we do a lot of yoga. We take a lot of belly breaths. We do a lot of yoga movements. It helps kids regulate their emotions and behaviors. That's very spiritual to me.
Right. And probably helps them, like, be present.
Yeah.
And kind of...
Yeah, we wish each other well. Like, if someone's hurt or someone's having a hard time, or even just to be nice, like, I wish you well. I wish you well throughout your day.
That's good. Yeah. If there was one, like, if you could do, I know this is totally like a power tripping thing, I guess, in a way, like, or imposing your will. But if you could do one thing to help the educational system, what would it be? Do you have like something like a solution?
Slow down.
Slow down. What?
Slow down.
Anything specific?
Everything. Oh my gosh, that's such a heated question. I have like so many paths my brain just went on.
That's why I asked
went
it.
into an ecosystem.
That's what I'm supposed to do, is ask those questions. So that's why I'm asking. Because I have my own beliefs behind it.
The very first thing, cheesy as it sounds, is nutrition. We need to better our nutrition in order to help your question, because we're putting crap into our kids' bodies every single day. Makes them slower.
Why do you think that is? Go ahead.
Because we're cheap.
Because we're cheap?
Like, look at the UK's meals. Look at Japan's meals. They really value
You're talking about in-school meals.
Yeah,
okay.
in-school meals. In-school meals. I mean, we try to feed our kids as healthy as we can here. We're not,
Well, and I think that a lot of children are going to make the choices that they make at home, too, if they have a choice at school,
Mm-hmm.
like if they're not exposed to different types of food and, nutritional education, I guess. Mm-hmm. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, we try our best to, like, we go by the USDA, which sometimes drives me insane. Like, why does my kid need that much?
I think they're still using
this?
they're still using the old model of
the plate,
the pyramid
the
model.
pyramid
right?
model.
Are they
Yeah.
still with grain as the number one thing?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But
to me
no.
That's still being used. Is that still
in
being used?
my profession, we have upped those veggies.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so the veggies got an up. The dairy got a little bit down.
Yeah, I always thought that's so fascinating to me. It's almost like, I don't know, my take on it is like it's very much in tune with the military industrialized complex and kind of what our whole government's about, like in getting the general public ready for the workforce and stuff like that in manufacturing. But now we're moving into this new age of like, a lot more automation and robotics, and then also, and it's, I don't know, I just find it fascinating that we are clinging so hard onto a lot of really old models of systems,
Well, looking at all that, we don't like change, really.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Some people do. Some
Yeah.
people like change.
Yeah. But I think at my job, we do our best to serve them, a fruit, a vegetable, a grain, a meat,
Yeah,
substitution
balance.
if they need it.
Right.
And we try to do low sugar. We cut out chocolate milk days. No more Friday, Thursday
I wonder
chocolate
what
milk
happened.
days.
Remember, is it Jamie Oliver? Is that the guy's name? He was like he's a chef, and he like made it his mission in the UK to go and like up the nutritional standards for the schools and stuff like that. I wonder if that's still going on. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's Jamie. Was that Jamie Oliver? Maybe.
I don't know, but I know the guy
some
you're
chef.
talking about.
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, like we put soda machines in our elementary schools.
That's
but
weird.
I think here they took them out and they just put Gatorade, but still the same sugar content.
Still Gatorade is like.
Yeah, they put other.
Tastes
things.
great. That's for sure.
It's got electrolytes.
It has electrolytes. That's, bro,
Stay hydrated.
You've never seen Idiocracy, have you? I don't think you've ever seen that.
I haven't seen half of what the world
man.
is
That I think you've seen a lot of movies, but you just don't remember them. But Idiocracy was like a movie from, God, I don't know, 2000, I think, or
Are
maybe.
you sure? Like, I didn't see that one show. You
It
were
was,
sure I saw.
Yeah, it's true. She's
Back
never
to the
seen Star
Future?
Wars or Back to the Future. That's what she, right? What? That's so weird. And she's from the United States. I don't get it. I think she's seen it. She's just it's like repressed. Has to be. It's my only guess. But anyways, yeah, in that movie, it's basically about it's really funny. I won't give it away because maybe we'll watch it. It's pretty funny. It's like a cult classic now, even though it was a terrible movie when it came out. But basically, it's a lot like the presidency we have now in a way, just with social media and stuff. Like in a way, it's really funny. Yeah. So if anybody's never seen that movie, it's and you have time to watch it, it's pretty funny. But in that movie, they say they basically do a pitch for like Gatorade or something like that.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It has electrolytes. It's exactly what it says.
I was like, where are we getting here?
Yeah,
like,
it's just
what part
reminding
of
me
my
of
story?
it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't.
Well, I can answer more of your question, how we can slow down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Please.
Go back to it. So nutrition, I think, fuels the body, helps us learn better. Maybe if we're not so cookie cutter in our education, that would be great as well, because all kids learn different.
Okay. Adapt to different learning styles.
If you're sitting down, it just makes me so sad. It makes my heart hurt. And I know a lot of our schools do a really great job with something called brain breaks. You get to get up, you get to move around, take breaks. But you're sitting at a desk 6 hours a day for 10, 11 years.
Sounds familiar.
You get a 30-minute lunch, usually 20 minutes. You rush to eat.
This is what I was saying. It's basically teaching children to be part of the manufacturing.
Another form of the rat race.
Right. It's exactly to be part of the rat race, or however you want to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really think mental health can improve too if we slowed down a little bit and we took more time for social skills and home economics. We don't even have home economics anymore.
Yeah, I
know. Kids don't know how to budget. You know what our daughter said today? She told her teacher, her 9th grade teacher, in a live meeting, well, I don't like school. I never have. So there's really nothing you can do to help me. Because he asked her. And she was very honest. Because I told her you should just be honest from your heart. And he goes, well, I don't like it either. And she goes, huh? And he goes, no, I don't really like how it's set up. And, he went on and he really related to her, which was really nice.
That's good.
Yeah, but she said, how come they don't teach us how to budget?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? From the mouth of a 14-year-old.
I mean, if you go to, I don't know, you could go and take specific business classes and stuff in high school. I remember, but
well, now that I know that's an interest to her, I'm like, I'm on it.
yeah,
You want to know how
hopefully
to
she does
budget?
better than
We
she does
have
better than
budget meetings
Yeah.
every week. She can
Yeah.
come to them.
Right. Oh, they're so much fun too.
They
can be. They can be really. Our last one was really good.
Last one was great.
I really liked
The
that
one before, I was like, is it gonna end?
Yeah.
And then it was fine.
Yeah, that's. I think it's really important if we have a system like we do, a monetary system like we do. Yeah, for sure. Budgeting stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine just called and it made me think of a question with the integration of, it's kind of a two-part question. Like, one is mental illness, right, and how teachers affect mental illness, or how they can help or hinder it, I guess,
right.
And also with special needs kids, what are some, because in a way they're pretty close, they're tied in a way, right? I mean, having I would say being able to overcome certain mental adversities, right? Things that are really challenging to people.
Well, things that we call the norm, typically developing.
Right. That's kind of my question. Is like how do we educate the normal people about like mental illnesses? Because I notice, like, especially with the police right now, we have all this, all the rioting, and like, people are unfortunately getting killed, and a lot of them have mental illness, or they have situations where they don't know how to work under those. It seems like they don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong because I'm not an expert, but it seems like they don't know how to work under the the stress of even a police officer in their presence, type of thing, because it means something to them, right? And how do we teach police officers more about mental illness, since that's obviously has to be a part of their job, like psychology, they have to know. I mean, I feel bad for police officers. Like, I don't feel bad for them, I just don't envy their job.
They have people that can come in and negotiate for them that are specialized in it,
but on the beat, like a beat cop, I don't think is going to have that capability. Or maybe, like, is there an app for that?
There's a camp for it.
Yeah.
All right. If you're in Oregon, you need to come to Kiwanis Camp. You will fully integrate into the world of special needs, children and adults with disabilities. I've worked there for 6 years. It's amazing. You will leave the mountain, it's up at Mount Hood, feeling like a completely different person. I promise you.
Okay.
I really want you to go there.
No, it's fun. Yeah, I want to go.
You leave in this cloud. Your head's in this cloud.
The problem is, like, if I go, that's 2 weeks of vacation, right? And that's pretty much all I got.
Your life will change.
I'm sure it will. I was just and because I'm like that, I was just listening to Tony Robbins, right? And it's not. There's other people too, though. It's not just Tony Robbins, but it's like like the Dalai Lama. There's so many different people who say this, but really, like, the act of giving your time or giving yourself to a greater cause or to somebody else usually creates the most joy in people's lives, and most people, and that seems so counterintuitive, like, because you always want to hold on to things, like hold on to your money, hold on to whatever, but when you give your time and energy towards something, towards a cause or towards a person, like, that creates so much joy. So I totally understand why that would change somebody's life.
Yeah, it's one of the deepest human connections I've ever felt. Yeah. It's so real, like, so inclusive, and the best friends you'll ever have.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, if you want to fully integrate, like, you can hit up Diadon to get to me, and I'll help you get there. I'll help you understand.
To go Kiwanis Camp.
Take you there.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun, and we have Portland State University students come. They get to do their practicum there, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to get my senior capstone done in 2 weeks." Is the hardest thing.
It seems quite challenging.
In life,
and knowing, because of me, like, I'm sure that I'll get thrown into some very wonderful jobs.
Yeah, it's the best job I've ever done. Yeah. So. I don't even call it a job. It's
a joy.
It's my vacation. It's lovely.
Wow.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it takes you out of all the bullshit.
It recharges my batteries for the whole year.
Huh.
It's like looking at the ocean, looking at the moon. I'm really cheesy, but it just fuels the soul.
So, what do you think would be a good way to? That's obviously a great way. Is like to have an inclusive experience for people to go and actually interact with people who are not considered normal, right?
They're my kind of normal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you married me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But do you think there's any other type of ways to educate people? Because I don't know. It seems like
yeah.
Especially like mental illness too. Like
just go on to YouTube. Honestly, that's like really good education right there. But don't go off of like if you've met one person with special needs, you've met one person with special needs.
Why do you think it's important to even do that though, to educate yourself in that situation for interacting with people who have some type of you could say disability or disadvantage?
Well,
have a different perspective.
Yeah, I think
that's way radically different.
Everyone's answer is going to be different here, but for me, it should just be the norm. Looking at people, hearing people, different situations should just be the norm. Like when you're in a supermarket, say, and you might see someone with mental illness or a special need, you're afraid to even look in their direction, or someone that uses a wheelchair. People might be afraid to look at them. Like, oh no, if I look at them, they're going to think I'm looking at their wheelchair or something. And that's not for everyone. I agree with
you totally. But I think also, like, even just normal people, like, some people just have a hard time giving, like, recognizing someone else as a human being walking in the store, especially now, like, with, coronavirus and, masks and everything.
There's more to that, too. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, if I look at this guy or this woman, there's automatically some sort of flirting or lust happening. I really think that we've lost a little bit of human connection and our ego just shoots straight up almost sometimes. Not for everyone, but like I can't even sometimes look at someone and without getting like hit on. Sometimes I'm like, excuse me, like, can I get these apples or something? And it's like, that's not an invitation.
That's because I mean, you haven't gone to enough supermarkets, because that's like the number one. That's
the fruit section.
That's how. Yeah, you go to the fruit section and say, hey, how much for these apples? That's literally that's like a way to get into someone's bedroom. That is surefire way.
It's sure not how I met you.
Yeah, right.
We won't get into that.
We can. I can tell our story. This is not the right video. Why is that? Oh, because of all the other stuff. Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. What? There wasn't anything bad about it, though. I don't understand.
No, there's not.
All right. Well.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts on what?
Anything.
Any of this?
About? Yeah.
Oh well. I don't know. You know what my position on a lot of it. Like, I think the fundamental social structure we have, are the foundation of how we operate as at least in the Western world, especially. And I can't say this for all over the world. I haven't traveled that much, and I'm sure all over the world. I'm sure there's tons of different experiences and tons of different cultures that operate in different ways. But I do know in the Western world, we base our energy of us, like we use a tool of money, but it's based on the idea of scarcity and debt, and we have an entire system. There's fractional reserve banking. We have this entire system that's basically making everybody who plays the game more and more in debt. As far as governments go, not necessarily individuals, because lots of individuals break free from that and they have stability and financial freedom, but they've had to work really hard on that education, right? Yeah. So imagine if, and some people are just naturally, that's what they like to do. They like those type of systems. They like being able to organize material things and be able to do that. But then there's other people, who aren't able to, like some of the people we've talked about.
Yeah.
And some people who are just, they're not accustomed to it. They're artists. They're not. That's not their thing so much, and they can't. It's difficult for them to spend a bunch of time on that because they're just not used to it. Or it's just not how they learn. It's not how they process things, and so we don't we don't necessarily celebrate those types of people, right?
That's also a part of how we can help break down racism, in my opinion. When your kids are young, expose them to everything. find people that don't look like you and that don't act like you and that don't eat the same food you do, and be friends with them.
Right, because then you won't have as much fear.
Yeah.
Right, it's kind of what, and I think the issue with that is there's so much cultural. It's the same with our I could say some solutions that I would have to to our monetary system the way it is now, but would it ever change? I mean, unless we all band together to decide we want to change it, or we did something like that,
We've been banding together for lots of things.
It might never change. So
I'm sorry, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but you said scarcity, and I noticed something here. When coronavirus hit, we automatically think we need water and toilet paper.
Water makes sense.
When the smoke hit,
water makes
and
sense.
toilet paper.
And most people don't have bidets.
The fires, water and toilet paper. Like the thunderstorm, water and toilet paper. Anyway, that was just a side note. You said scarcity, and I thought about that.
Well, and that's kind of my point. Is like we devise the system. We value scarcity.
We value water and toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh, and food too.
And food.
But there's such a big variety of food here.
Yeah.
So.
But that, for the first time, this is going to sound really ridiculous because we're in America, and we are not without. I'm not saying there's not people that are poor and go without, because there are people that are hungry, but I went to the supermarket. I'm watching too many UK shows. I went to the grocery store, and for the first time in my life, 34 years, I didn't see food on the shelves that was safe for me to eat. Because I have celiac disease.
Right.
It was really scary. But then I talked to my friends in other countries. It's nothing. It's nothing. I was talking to our friends in Kosovo about what's going on here. Yeah, they live that stuff every single day. Every single day.
What? Scarcity of food?
Scarcity, guns being pointed at their heads. It's not safe. If you can't get a job, if you're a woman, you're really suppressed. It just really makes me think like our problems here in America compared to other countries, third world countries.
We're super blessed.
Yeah, so every time I'm like, oh, I can't find something that I'm used to eating, I really gotta think about that.
In that sense, though, it's like we can kind of be like the shining model. We're like the model. I was just going to say the shining model because there's lots of different things that we could do. But I mean, yeah, we could be the example for the world, So in certain ways, like the fact that we can even get on here and talk to a bunch of people about things is like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't want to come on here. I'm shy. But I mean, I've been on Zoom classes for the last 3 weeks, and I'm like, what do the kids say? YOLO.
I think most of the time is like, well, what do I have to say? Why am I important at all? Which I'm, that's what most people think. But that's not what it's about. Like, I think it's more like we should open up more dialogue like this and tell our stories and learn from each other, because you can literally like develop skills or learn from each other through osmosis. Like I feel, if it's something that interests you, and you're passionate about it. So that's kind of why I do things.
That's important.
It's been a while since I've done a podcast too.
Passion is important for being in school as well. If you're not passionate about it, it's really hard to do it. It's hard to complete it. But at the same time, like I know our kid is not passionate about school, but I want her to continue doing it to say that she finished something. And it was hard. She didn't like it, but she finished it. I don't know.
But if there's some type of emotion attached to it, like that's what the passion would be, right? So if there's something that she wants to do, and an education is required for whatever it is she wants to do, but it's hard because like in this day and age, there's so much social media and exposure to like very materialistic things, so it's magnified,
Oh, TikTok's going down on Sunday.
What do you mean? Again?
Banned on our anniversary.
Again?
Yeah, no, I kind of like TikTok, but I don't at the same time after what that guy did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man committed suicide live.
That's happened on Facebook too.
He streamed it on a few social medias. Like, even if your kid's in the same room, you're not going to save them from anything, okay? They're going to see stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Our kids didn't see it, thank goodness, but...
One way, it seems like it takes away innocence a little faster and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, like our whole culture's frequency, our whole culture's like ability to adapt and evolve is elevated. It's just going faster and faster. So
I think there's like some sort of study that was done, like kids of the 80s, like we didn't have all this social media when we were growing up compared to kids now. Like what they grow up as, what they do, what their interests.
We are the study.
What their interests stem out as.
We're the study. We're the example of that. So
yeah, look at us on social media. Yeah.
Right.
It's fun, you know.
It's a powerful tool, and like any powerful tool, it can be used for progressive means or depressive means. You know, like it can, it's like a gun. Like it's a perfect example. Like a gun can be used to hunt. It can be used as a tool to survive, or it can be used to hurt people. Like it's just more about education and like a foundation of who people are. That's how I feel about it. You know? So, but at the same time, you can use social media to talk about whatever you want. Some people will listen.
Without social media, I wouldn't be connected to my students right now. Besides getting to go and socially distance outside their porch, which I did do last year, because I missed them.
Yeah, because it's the end of the year, right?
End of the year,
be hard.
Yeah.
It's gotta be hard.
Thankful for that connection, but it's the same.
Do you think there would
sad.
ever be a time where I don't personally feel there would be, but do you think there would ever be a time where like AI would somehow
take my job?
Take your job. Take your job. Yeah, because I mean, like with the new virtual classrooms.
If that did happen, I'd just move to a different country. There's no way there's that much advancement all over the world. Like, and I'd just go help needier kids, honestly.
Yeah, well, it's like.
Or maybe they don't need us as much as we think.
The kids?
Yeah.
Well, if parents were freed up to have more time to be able to, both parents didn't have to work and all that kind of stuff, probably wouldn't be as necessary,
But parents here at least are so conditioned to know, like when my kid gets in kindergarten, I get to go work full time now. Or if you're a stay-at-home mom or dad, even dads, I'm not going to leave y'all out, but or however you identify. But that's the thing, parents are so mad now.
Right.
But we're not babysitters. Teachers are not babysitters. We didn't go to school for our babysitting degree, so it's really hurtful to people. But I get it at the same time, because our system we had set up is now failing because people can't go to work because they have to be with their kids at school.
Right. Yeah, that's...
I don't even know how to solve that problem. Besides, let your employees work 10-hour days and let them be off other days, or let them work from home if possible.
Right.
I don't know. Very thankful for my job. I work for an amazing company.
Yeah, but it's still, like, it's still government subsidized, right? I mean, you're still funded by the government. Right, it's not private. What do you think about private vocational schools or going that method of teaching private schools?
I honestly wish we could put our son in one of those.
Why? Because it's more...
Actually, there's a lot of schools like that are where you can build upon the kid's interest while learning other things.
Like Montessori type of stuff like that?
Yeah, there's Montessori, and there's like science schools, and even for little ones.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is the private schools around here that you're talking about did not shut down due to coronavirus. All the kids are still going.
That is interesting.
It's very fascinating. Like, yeah parents pay.
Jason says, look how Elon teaches his kids. I'm not sure how he teaches his kids. Like, I know he's a very busy dude, but he maybe private school and stuff like that.
Speaking of the Musk guy.
Yeah, Elon Musk, yeah.
Right. The Musky guy.
The Musk guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that, but I know I'm grateful to be home and teaching, and I get to see my kids' frustrations on when they're being taught.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa, like I could totally offer some advice.
It's gotta be kinda cool.
It's also very hard because I have a job to do and I need to get it done, and I don't take advantage of just because I'm working at home.
Right.
Because then I'd fall behind and everything. It's really cool. Yeah. It's really hard and really cool.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, like today we started off not so great. You know, I was like, come on, kids, get up. Everyone's late to class. And
I still don't
so
understand
rough.
how you do it, to be honest. Like,
It's hard.
such young kids, like, are their parents there, like, encouraging them too?
Yeah, so parents are nearby. Parents really need to help, but if you're engaging and you're fun and you have 90 million plans, you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Like, I have a plan for my plan that didn't work, and all it matters is if you're learning through fun and play at this age, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Jason said he built a school in the facilities, like in Tesla factories or...
Oh, so like Nike.
Nike does the same thing.
Yeah, except we shut that down. We took that out when coronavirus hit. Yeah, we completely wiped it out. And it's interesting because I almost worked for that school, but it was a little too elitist for me. It was only Nike employees. Nothing wrong with Nike employees.
It's like a private school, though.
They were more privileged kids, and
Well, that's what I mean. It's like a private school. It's very similar.
Yeah, but we use the same curriculum.
Pay to play.
We use the same curriculum. They learn through play. It's great.
Right. So literally it is pay to play then.
Pay to play. Like, it's so cool. They get to play with, like, famous basketball players and stuff, and whoever comes to buy their shoes, they get to meet them.
Yeah. It's a huge challenge to try to bring that same type of curriculum and educational system, or educational, like, you could say privilege, I guess, or that high quality education to
but what is
the
that?
masses.
Yeah, like when I hear that word privilege, like I'm so trained to be like, oh, privilege, you know?
It has bad connotations now, but
way?
really,
like,
it has bad connotations now, but honestly, privilege is just something that's like, you were exposed to things that very few people were exposed to, right? I mean, you have an experience that not very many people have. That's the privilege. Like, you had the opportunity to do something that not very many people have had. That's basically what it means.
But I mean, at the same time, you're in, you know, the child care and with your teachers for 8 hours, and you're not very privileged to see your parents. So I don't know. I think of privilege in all different sorts of ways, compared to like the stay-at-home mom who gets to see her kids all the time.
Right.
It's wild. I'm loving this because I'll never get this time that I know of back in my life. Like, this is so awesome. I know I'm a teacher. Thank goodness I have patience when it comes to teaching. I have a lot more patience since school even started, just because I'm back into that mode. You've probably noticed, because our kids are misbehaving sometimes like crazy, and I'm like, just calm down, even though they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it, but yeah, I mean, you know, anyway, I would have never got this chance to really see and learn who they are for those 6 hours, and how the teacher's morals and values are shaped upon our children. Like, that 6 hours, other adults are with your kids. It's crazy to think about. And the stress when they come off the bus of everything they've felt, and we're like, oh, why are they acting like this, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think about all those things.
Yeah, it's very interesting times we're living in, for sure.
Yeah, and I know you wish you could do it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I'm a little like I don't usually get envious. I'm not too much of a jealous person, but I'm a little envious that like you're staying at home with the kids. You're getting
it's hard.
You're getting paid more than me now. I mean, normal job.
I wasn't gonna go there. But.
Right. Well, I just gotta step up my game now, even more. No, but if it was me, because the stuff that I do, you know, the work that I do, my own business, is not making nearly as much money as just doing the earned income day-to-day grind, to be able to replace it or even supplement it, right? But if it was me and I was at home, I'm not sure if I'd be able to handle it as well as you do, because I like that deep focus, like, you know, there's people I work with who, you know, obviously, but it's usually, you know, work-related questions and stuff like that, but and I really enjoy people. I don't know. It's kind of a split. Like, I'm just not sure I'd get a lot done because I don't want to be going and playing with them. You know what I mean? I want to be doing stuff like that.
It is. It's interesting because I really find it very rigid and depressing to be on such a tight schedule. But if you make the best of it and you put your own happiness and spin within that schedule, you become a lot happier. For me anyways. Like, I'm like, okay, I know breakfast is here, lunch is here, our breaks are here. But if we just stop and even ground ourselves, step outside literally without your shoes on, smell the fresh air.
What a hippie.
even looking at flowers and plants and the fish, it's all healthy for you. I know. Taking time to hug your kids and to say positive, happy things. I need to do that. I'm not perfect, you know that. Sometimes I don't have it all together. Like this morning, that was my whole point. I started off like, God, I didn't get any sleep. The dang thunder and lightning went off, and you know the kid came in 10,000 times and kicked me in the face while I was sleeping. And
it's just life.
And then I was like, I'm so glad I have literally all these parents and students. I have to this huge welcome to presentation. I have to be in a training, and I was like, why am I complaining?
Yeah.
I'm annoying myself.
Right.
Yeah,
because
and
you
I
have
don't
way more opportunities than most of the people in the world.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today.
It's so ridiculous.
Like how many people?
I was drinking Starbucks.
Yeah. Right. That's okay. A perfect example. Or like how many people? Like I was just thinking about this today because I did like some research on how many people have running water, and I don't remember the facts, but it's pretty. It's not, the number is not that high.
Stop it.
Like it's a little under half. I think it was like 40% of the world don't have running water, something like that.
That's hard to believe.
I know.
They
it's
teach
crazy.
that in school.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my point. Like, and then also I was thinking about it today. You know, a person at my work was like talking about how they, you know, it's the little things. You know, it's like the little things. It's like, remember the Simpsons episode where like Homer, he just wanted the ketchup. That was it, right? He just wanted the ketchup packet.
Yeah.
And that was his gripe or whatever, the little things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like your perspective. But I was just thinking, this person was complaining about how they weren't going to get, they could only choose 2 toppings for like a company luncheon, and they could only choose 2 toppings, and why couldn't they just get like a Supreme or whatever they wanted, right?
Yeah.
And
then
I said I understand where he's coming from.
Popeyes.
Like, you know, we do so much hard work, and I understand. I totally understand. But at the same time, I walked away and I was just thinking about it. I'm like, how many people in the world have even tasted pizza, or like if would their body even be able to handle eating pizza in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to think about.
For 10 years.
If they have woods, I mean, I don't know. It's just in general, like,
yeah,
that is, you know, that's privilege.
I thought you were talking about Popeyes because I learned today, this is ridiculous. Erase this from your mind later. It's total trash.
Once you put it in there, it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay, well, when you get a chicken sandwich there, and I can't eat out, I have celiac disease, I just can't. But anyway, it's one of our daughter's favorite places, and she's like, I want a chicken sandwich, a spicy one, her allowance, whatever. You can only get lettuce. No lettuce. Pickles and mayonnaise. They don't have tomatoes. They don't have lettuce. Someone in front of me was yelling, what, you can't even afford lettuce and tomatoes? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you said that. That's weird.
Yeah.
They were literally yelling through the drive-thru. Like, what, you can't afford it? And the guy was like, well, I suppose we could. We just chose not to.
Yeah.
That's like the best answer ever. But, yeah. Anyway.
The dog's in the video now. Ziggy's back there on top of the couch. Yeah, well, it's been about an hour. So you wanted to keep it an hour so we could have a little snuggle time and all that kind of stuff, right? So thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm happy I did.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I was tired, and I was like,
oh, tell me about it.
I'm just going to be all scrambled all over the place and not make sense. And there's so much to talk about when you said that, and I was like, I don't even know where to start.
Oh, yeah, we could go on for hours. We'll do another one sometime. Yeah. I'd like to do more of these consistently. I just got to choose a time and stay consistent for everybody. And I mean, basically, most of the stuff that I talk about is just science and spiritualism. Those pretty much, I think that's pretty much everything that we have, really. It's like at our foundation, our core.
Yeah.
Whether it's natural or man-made. But yeah, so I'd like to do more of these. And for anybody who's watching, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys have any post questions, you can always comment. Share this with anybody who think it might be interesting to them. Anybody who's interested in teaching and teachers in general and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And until next time, guys. Much love. Peace.